Yeah, I just want to start with, I thought the energy family weekend was awesome. Crowd was into it, which was great. Gave them a reason there until the end to be into it. So that their support for our players kind of fed off that, which was awesome. First time I've kind of really experienced that. So credit to them, credit to everybody's packed campus. So that was awesome. And then just department-wise, I know a lot of teams in the fall are making their runs. Best of luck to them. I know we got hockey rolling and basketball's about to start up. So, good luck to all of them as they continue to finish or start up. Obviously, with the game, I'm sure we'll get into a lot of the stuff here in a second. Just credit to Buffalo right off the bat. Situational football, they executed and did a really good job. Coaches and players, they did a better job than we did. So, credit to them. That's a great team in the MAC. There was some growth that we'll talk about, all those things that I look forward to talk to the team about. So, got another opportunity, which is the greatest part about football. So here we go.
What did you see from the tape that you liked, and maybe stuff that you saw that you liked less than maybe you did on Saturday?
Yeah, I think I'll start off with that thing on the wall over there, right? 3 green check marks, first time all year. Won the ball, won explosive plays. We won penalties, but we had 10, they had 11. So, you won it, but probably not great in terms of the amount. But I loved how the guys put themselves in the position to win the game for the first time this year. I don't really believe Bryant. We put ourselves in a position to win. We were winning, and then we kind of didn't play very well and let them back in that game. So this was really the first time out of the 7 games that I felt like our players played at a level that you need to play in this league in college football to put yourself in a position to win the game. So overall, that was the best growth standpoint from a team. I think individual performances, Brandon Hood had his best game probably since, I asked him in the team meeting when's the last time he carried the ball that much. He said sophomore year in high school. So he had a great performance. We had a lot of individual performances all over the place. I think of someone like Donovan Dyson, who did not take more than 4 reps at will all week because of the depth chart. Went in there and played, I think, 43 plays and played really well. So there's a lot of things that individually we look forward to, but for the team, I think there was growth.
You said this is going to be the most critical week for you and your team. What kind of response have you seen or do you hope to see throughout the week? Yeah,
I think, coming off of Kent State, you lay an egg. You don't play very well anywhere. Usually there's a fire inside of you that wants to burn and get better. I think with this one, Coach, we won all categories. We played really well, and we still didn't win. Sometimes that's harder to come back to. But I know that we have a great opponent. I have a lot of respect. There's a first-year head coach over there doing what he's doing. His vision laid it out. It's a great chance to go on the road and see if we can now stack a performance, which we haven't done all year, and put ourselves into another position to win the game.
AJ, and he might not have had the greatest stat line during throwing the ball, but kind of jump-started that drive with the 3rd and long scramble.
Yep.
Then he extended the play before he threw it to Max. I know that's not a strength of his in terms of being like a dual threat guy, but how encouraging is it for him to see that pocket presence? And is that something you expect to develop over time with game experience?
Yeah, I think for him, that type of growth from his standpoint was awesome. I mean, being able to escape the scramble, but also, AJ's probably going to look to throw first, which he did, and really twice. The first touchdown to Kez, that's a route you really never throw. The backside post ball on a naked. But he saw it, executed it, threw it well, and then certainly the ability for him to scramble, and then a great job by Max in scramble rules, whether you're getting negative coming back toward the quarterback or you get toward the sideline and turn up. Just a great individual play. So there's certainly growth. There's certainly things we want back, the intentional groundings, just something as simple as we have 7 seconds left in the game. We have 2 timeouts. We cannot take a sack there. Right, we got to put the whole point about that drive starting 19 seconds. You got to get us to a Hail Mary situation. That was the goal. Talked about on the sideline huddle and that. So taking our checkdowns, those kinds of things, progressing the ball. But certainly I think, with the way we ran the ball, that's what we needed to do to win the game. And that was our best rushing performance of the year.
5 games less, maybe this is for next week. But at some point, obviously you want to win every game. That's your focus. But at some point, do you look at potentially getting younger guys in, or maybe you already had to see what you have for the future?
Yeah, well, that's going to happen this week. So I'm sure I'll get a question about injuries at some point here. So I'm just going to rattle this off once, so that we don't have it be a team distraction for the week. So Rocco and Gibby, I don't know. We'll see. They're battling things. We'll test them out this week. This is as of today, these guys will be out of the game. Shamar Jackson will be out. Ryan Barnes will be out. Timmy Heinz-Peter's out. Kyle Brown's out. Sullivan Weebin's out. David Anaha's out. Shamel Davis is out. Zach Ferris is out. Rashad Henry is out. Reese is out. Max Dowling's out. Darion Craig is out. Dean Schaefer talked to the team yesterday. He has to medically retire. He just can't do it with his hip. Love the kid. He'll be around, but we're going to lose him, obviously, for the rest of the year. So, to your point, we have no other option. We're going to have some guys that were on the scout team that are going to be taking some 1 reps, some 2 reps. I look at some of our young linebackers because of our situation there with Dean, Timmy, and Rashad being out right now. It's really Tyler Martin, Donovan Dyson, who have gotten reps, and then we're gonna roll. You're looking at the scout team corner this week. We'll be playing field corner. It's all good. That's what we got to do. So I think there's going to be growth and opportunity. And I look back at the game too. AJ redshirt freshman. Brandon Hood, redshirt freshman. Elijah Faulkner, true freshman. Jax Markovich, true freshman. A lot of guys on defense I can keep rattling off. So we have some younger guys that got to step up. And everybody's in that situation. Everybody might not be to the severity of this, but there's, I'm sure, Central Michigan. I haven't really taken a look yet. They seem to be fairly healthy with what I see on game film in terms of the same people playing, but they're battling things. I know their tailback's battling something. So we got to see what we can get, but I'm excited about that challenge. Right? This is why you love the coach. Figure it out. We got to figure out a way to put our best performance on Saturday.
Oh, that's a long list. How many of them might be due back this year?
No, none of those that I listed. The only one out for the year right now is Dean Schaefer. So now, timeline-wise, some of them might be because Sunday and Monday is really a day of MRIs, X-rays. We get all that information. I usually get that information before our 5 p.m. staff meeting today. So hopefully we'll get some of them.
You serious about playing scout corner?
I am.
How does that work? You gonna be padded up or?
No, I'll just be out there rolling around. I wasn't terrible, Division III corner, so here we go. But it's what's needed, right? We're going to have some coaches doing some DB and some wideout stuff. So Andy better get his – hopefully he can still run. I'm sure he can. So, but it's what we need because we can't take away from the ability to get reps. So it'll be good. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be a way for us to energize the team. No job too small. We talk about that all the time, and it's what we got to do. So I think we're going to have some fun with it.
Have you ever had that at this level at college before?
No, I have not. 'Cause now, also, where I've been, you're carrying before the new rule this year. Well, Maine, we talked about that. Maine, we had to practice one side at a time because we didn't have enough guys. So the offense, it's kind of like high school. So we talked about that this week, but we feel like it's better to – because this point in the season, too, you can't accumulate time, right? It's more about, cutting that down, taking care of the guys, but getting the reps necessary. So, but at Maine, we would practice one side of the field. One team would be up, offense or defense. The other side, they were walking, and then we would switch. Practices were a little longer, but it's what we had to do there for numbers-wise.
What do you see on tape from Sunday?
Yeah, like I said, I have a great appreciation for Coach Drinkel and what he's done. They have an identity, and they stick to it. Offensively, they are going to cue run, they're going to run the ball, and they're going to be as physical as they can be. So we have to be ready for that. But it's just a program. I just appreciate, they play together all the time, all 3 phases, and that's why they're winning, right? I think they do a great job. They have an identity offensively. I was looking at their play clock stuff. On average, almost 50% of their plays are under 10 seconds on the play clock. That's 14th in the FBS. That's 2nd in the MAC. So they have a strategy. They have a plan, and we need to be able to put together a plan that hopefully puts us in a position to be successful. Defensively, they get after you. I'm pretty sure they lead the MAC in turnovers, at least turnover margin. They're creating, right, tip balls, overthrows, and that's why they're winning. The ball's the most important thing. So really impressed. It'll be an awesome road test for us against a team that's kind of taking off right now. So it'll be good.
You used the term identity in discussing that. Is that what you're looking for with your guys?
Yeah, I think like I said, growth from the last game. I think it's the first time we've put ourselves in a position to go win. And I think constantly, we have a lot of things shuffling around with players and stuff like that. But inside the walls is what I pay attention to. And I know that, today, yesterday, we have a team that's not giving up. And they won't. I won't allow it to happen. So I appreciate them. They're doing everything they can do. There's just some things in the way of college football when you play young guys and the guys that haven't gotten a lot of reps, or guys that are older playing for the first time. You're gonna go through some stuff. So as long as they stick with it and they have the right mindset, we'll get it right.
At wide receiver, even with Jaquan and T.Y. out, you had Tyree Kelly playing early in the season. Now he almost received almost no game time last week. Is that sort of an injury or one of the unpopular decisions you've had to make?
Yeah, I think everything just goes with you got to earn everything you get. So people might look at that as one of the decisions I made, but certainly it was. Just feel like you got to earn everything, right? And if you don't do stuff right during the week, or you don't practice at a level for TK or any of the situations that are going on, that's what the hardest thing to teach is right now, right? You earn the right to play, right? And ultimately, that's what we got to turn this place into, right? Earning the right to play here and having a privilege to play here. So, but yeah, I think you can categorize that as one of those situations.
At running back, we've seen Elijah Faulkner come in and show some bursts as a young freshman. You played Demarion Albrecht more in the last couple of weeks than Faulkner. What kind of went into that decision?
Yeah, I think, off the field, on the field, earning the right. I think Day-Day's someone that was injured in the beginning of the year that showed us a lot. Very similar type back to Elijah in terms of having a burst and those kinds of things. And it comes down to ultimately a trust factor, right? Coaches got to put in guys that they trust. So Day-Day was moved up last week from scout team. He's been on the scout team all year. Did a great job, so we wanted to see if, what he would do in a game. Certainly probably didn't go the way he wanted to. I think it just everything is evaluated. We're not just going to play you to play you. I get it with the injuries now. We're a little bit hamstring there a little bit. But just trying to teach them that you're going to earn everything you get.
Buffalo completed 11 passes of 15 or more yards, but only one of 23 or more. So are you kind of willing to give up those medium yardage throws to not get hit over the top?
Yeah, I think I talked about that after the game a little bit. I think right now the Achilles heel of our defense is explosive plays. So coming up with a way, especially with our injuries, to put guys in positions to be successful and make teams drive it. So that is going to be a little bit softer at times of coverage. Allowing them, yes, to probably move the ball a little bit more consistently, but ultimately not giving up the explosive was key in us staying around in the game. And if you look, I'm sure someone's going to ask me at some point about the clock management and the play calling. But when we had to step up and win one-on-ones, we didn't. So we have to keep teaching. We have to keep coaching that technique of it. But to your question, if we can limit the explosive plays, run or pass, it's going to put ourselves in a better position. Because it's like anything. The more plays you run, the more opportunities, hopefully, they make a mistake with the ball. And we did drop at least 3 interceptions. I mean, we dropped one in the end zone. We dropped one deep. And then I thought Z had a chance on the sideline there when he buzzed in there on cover 3. So.
After looking back at Saturday, do you mentioned the clock management? Do you have it?
Yeah. So, I think the first thing, and this is going to be kind of a long-winded answer, all right, but I think I think it's the right for me to take everybody through our decision-making. And listen, everybody's got a platform, everybody has opinions, and everybody's entitled to those opinions. But the loss is a team loss. It's players, it's coaches, it's everybody, right? And the one thing I've talked about in the past is when you make decisions as a head coach ultimately to do things or a play caller, you cannot think about the negative outcome of the play. That's the wrong way to decide things, right? So no one, after the game or up until now, no one's talked about the 4th and 1 on the -33, up a point. Why? Because the play worked. If the plays don't work, everybody has an opinion on it. If the plays work, I get it. No one asks. But let's think about the flip side. Coach Arasimiak goes for it on 4th and 1 on the -33 in a 1-point game, and he doesn't get it. I get it. We were aggressive in terms of winning the game. After that play, 12 more plays, we use up 6 minutes of clock. Okay, so then they get a defensive holding on a 2nd down. So right now it's 1st and 10. There's 4:50 left on the game clock. The clock is stopped. We rush for no gain. The conversation in the headset, right, was, hey, do you want me to start milking it? We call it milk. I said, hey, stay with it. You control it. We're not going to put that on AJ. An older quarterback, you can give him a play call at 35, 30 seconds on the clock, say, hey, milk it. But getting in the huddle, reading your wristband, looking up the play clock, probably not great to put him in that situation. So Coach Bajakian controls that. So we go 2nd and 10. There's 4:04 on the game clock. We took the play clock down to 5 seconds, right? Rush for -1. So here's the one that everybody probably is wondering about. It's 3rd and 11 on the +36. So we take it down to 1 second on the play clock, right? The play call there, we are in field goal range. We are in Derek's range. We're up a point. The goal there is to call the best play available to either get the first down or to increase our chances of getting a better field goal range, right? Even if we run the ball there, a team that's up 1 to 2 points above 240 is not going to call the timeout. So they're not going to burn that there. Yes, we could have taken time off the clock by just running, but you want me to run it after no gain and a -1? I've been through that. That was Bryant, right? So we call the play that we executed earlier in the game, and this is what, again, educating. If we execute that play better, we call it a tight end screen off a counter, an RPO type deal, right? If we execute our 2 blocks in terms of our timing and our block by our tight end and our tackle, we feel like we have a catch. We can get vertical, we might get tackled, but that's a completion, right? So then we go and we kick it with Derek. Derek probably makes 55-yarders every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday when he kicks. He doesn't kick on Thursdays, right? So that's within his range. That kick was good from at least 60. But what no one pays attention to is we don't snap the ball right. We don't spin the ball. We got Ray Finkel. We got Ace Ventura for you. We kick laces. No one knows that. So whether or not he's going to blame it on that, myself and Coach Castellito will take ownership for that, right? But Giovanni's good enough and Keegan's good enough to get that done. So we missed that. So now we come to the 4-minute, which is the same exact situation as Bryant. Bryant had 3 timeouts. Buffalo has 3 timeouts. That is the worst 4-minute situation that you're going to be in. You are backed up after the unsportsmanlike penalty, right? They have 3 timeouts. Everybody thinks about just make them burn their timeouts. But you have to understand the situation. We are in a backed up punt. So regardless, they have the best punt returner in the league, and their kicker's range is 39 yards. 39-yard line he can make it from, which we track in pregame. So we punt from our own end zone. He's probably fair catching the ball or returning it 50-plus. They're going to be in positive territory. We're only up 1. So why do we call what we do? First play is a quarterback run. We were running duo the whole game. First play of the game, we run duo. We get a one-on-one with the corner. We get a 7 to 8 yard gain. We run a quarterback duo play, which now we're going to try and account for that corner, get an extra hat. And everybody knows quarterback run versus a single high defense, you got an extra hat. Now, what they did is they came down, they screwed down, so we had to execute. They executed better. They triggered on the play, which made our tailback have to pick up a guy that wasn't his. We kind of got stuffed. The goal there is to get 4 more. We didn't. Okay, so we go to 2nd down. They call their timeout. We run an outside zone play. Okay, if you pause the tape, when the guy has the ball, we have a chance to stretch it and get an opportunity to round the corner, stay in bounds, obviously, but we got a chance there to get it back to a 3rd and manageable. Okay, if anybody was watching the game, the running back went down. He cramped. He fell down. Now, that's on us. That's on the medical team. That's on the kid for not hydrating. That's ownership, right? The 2 play calls that were made were not about them burning the timeouts. We need to get a first down to win the game. That's where the decision is, right? So now we come to 3rd down, okay? Everybody probably wants us just to run the ball and burn the timeout. I believe there was 51 seconds left on the clock. We just had a TFL for 4 yards, and we got stuffed on a play where we felt like it was pretty good. So, looking back at Bryant, we got stuffed 2 plays in a row. We called the quarterback run on 3rd down. Didn't work. I felt like we weren't aggressive enough to go win the game because a first down wins the game with the clock. So, to me, if everybody doesn't know this, we get graded from professionals We have an analytical book and a strategy book that we pay for. Over 100 football teams have it. Only 3 teams in the MAC don't have it, right? So I'm going to rely on them to tell me when I get an F, when I get an A, when I get a B, when I get a C. It makes complete sense there to throw the ball. I know that's shocking to some people, all right? Because the value of the first down versus the value of wasting 5 to 6 seconds and taking a timeout. We run the ball, we don't get what we need to get, we are still in a backed up punt situation. And we are punting the ball to the best punt returner that is probably going to be plus 50 and in and already have a field goal range where he's going to get it. The clock stops in college football on a first down. We just executed a 2-minute drive last week on our -1 without any timeouts. We got a field goal. Bryant executed their 2-minute drive without a timeout. So the NFL, yeah, the clock keeps going. So not to have a timeout means a lot more there. And I think there's some confusion there. So I'm not thinking about the timeout. We're thinking about getting the first down to win the game and ultimately getting a play that even if he takes the check down there, we get out of backed up punt. Usually a punt snap is 14 yards. We were on the -4.5 yard line. The end zone for everybody is 10 yards. So we have our heels on the end line, punting. So whether he takes the check down, but ultimately he threw a ball. They played cover 3. We tried to get the ball in over the curl flat defender in front of the clue corner. I call it clue. We run the route 5 yards too deep. If we pause it and look at the top of the screen, Donnie Gray runs the same route. So we threw the ball, we didn't execute, boom. That timeout in this situation, they didn't even use it. So again, I have to deal with the situation that is coming, right? So they get the ball in the plus 50. Now, last week, right, we study things during the week. My job is to study the book, everything that happened in college football, and we meet about it constantly. Colorado, Iowa State. It's a 3rd and 17 for Colorado. They ran the ball on 1st and 2nd down. They got tackled for losses. Iowa State has 1 timeout. 3rd and 17, Colorado. They decide to throw the ball because the first down wins the game. They get it, 28-yard gain, they win the game with knees. So what am I trying to separate here? We make decisions that's based off being aggressive the whole game and trying to win the game for the players. That was a situation where when I get the grade back, it makes complete sense to throw the ball. There's very little upside there to running the ball besides them having to burn a timeout. It's 3rd and 14. We're probably not calling a run play to get 14 yards. So that's why that decision was made. So with all that being said, we stayed aggressive to try and win the game. People can have their opinions, right? But that was the exact scenario I talked with the team yesterday. Because what do they hear? They go on their phone. They hear all this stuff. We control what's inside these walls, and that's why those decisions were made. All right, so now, where do people get their information from? The book, the guys that grade me, that are professionals in their field, right? They do this for a living. They actually give me what gets said on TV. Their direct quote, not mine. Their direct quote, whoever was commentating the game, way off base from a strategy perspective, totally disregard. So everybody has a platform. Everybody hears what they want to hear. Everybody says what they want to say. I'm going through this to make sure our fans know why we made the decision we made because it's their right to know. That is why those decisions were made. So it's a long way, winded answer, but that's where we're at. And we'll continue to stay aggressive to try and win the game, and that's what we want to do.
How frustrating can it be when you're the head coach now? Coaches have done a lot of studying, all these analytics, like you said. I wouldn't even say that going is an aggressive decision is probably the only decision, but like conventional wisdom that people expect you to run, burn the timeout, which is pretty much meaningless. How frustrating is it to try to, have fans grade you on that when they really don't really understand it?
Yeah, no, listen, I understand why a lot of the things that are said are being said. And the main message to the team was I need to tell you why myself made those decisions so that you don't get in the world of, okay, they're saying this, my parents are saying this, my family's saying this, I'm hearing this from everybody. Why do we make the decision? So everybody's entitled to their opinion. I'm giving you the opinion of why we made those calls, right? Now, here's what I would hope that people would get on me for, and this is ownership at the highest level. We had a substitution infraction on the second to last play of the game. No one even knows that we had 10 on the field. I'm telling you that. I'm not hiding it. We had 10 players on the field. That's what everybody should be getting after me at. So that's BS from coaches defensively. So they get the completion on the first down on a slant where we don't play press with timing and disrupt timing. They complete the ball. The clock is stopped. We made a decision, all right, to go back to a different personnel group because they are now in field goal range. They had a timeout. Run, pass is all on the table. Great. So we made the decision to go back. We didn't do a great job in the game. If anyone remembers, I ran down to the FPC side on the first or second drive of the game. I had to call a timeout because we're not handling substituting by holding up the personnel group, whatever that is, when we go on the field. So now with the injuries and massive things going on, it's very difficult. That's why I called the timeout after the incomplete pass, because backed up punt, we had 3 or 4 guys in there that have never done it because of all the injuries that we just discussed. Our 2 shields were out. Our guard was out, Heinz Peter. So that's why we had that timeout. So those are the kinds of things that I don't have an opinion on. It's wrong. That's BS from the coaches. And that was handled, and it can never happen again because here's what everybody knows. Everybody in this room can count. Everybody can count to 10. Everybody can count to 12, right? And people that ultimately make decisions, they can count. So that's BS on our part. So those are the things that I'm pissed at. Am I mad at the kid getting beaten on the slant? Am I mad at the kid when we pull 0 pressure on the last play of the game to not backpedal and let the guy run routes on air? Yeah, I got to coach that better. But all those things go into it. So, you know, I mean, 10s on the field look at Notre Dame, Ohio State 2023. They had 10 guys on the field the last 2 plays of the game. Yeah, that Marcus Freeman should get stuff for that, right? Miami last year, Georgia Tech. They have a chance to kneel the ball out. They run the ball, they fumble. Those are the kinds of things that everybody should be attacking me and me only when we make those kinds of boneheaded decisions or have 10 on the field. But the point about this whole thing is we make decisions to go win the game. And that's what I really feel like we did. And the people that hold me accountable, that grade me, that tell me that are professionals, I feel good with where we're at in the decision we made.
On the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty with Darion, how do you discuss
Yep.
that with the captain?
So I'm going to talk both sides of it. We had an experience there where we intercept the ball. No one on the defense probably knows that Buffalo has 3 timeouts left, right? That penalty, which they probably could have called on 3 or 4 guys running onto the field as well. And if you look, I know you guys don't have the Coach Toppy, Coach Green and his staff and everybody, and me, we're literally going like this to keep everybody off the field. If you look at any change of possession, our strength coaches run down. We practice this. We run down the sideline and run down to the box on the 20 and put our hands back and hold everybody back. Because I just showed the guys, Old Miss, forget who they played last week, Washington State. Old Miss was 2:40 on the clock. They throw a naked. The tight end's running down the field. The coach is trying to tell him to go down and not go out of bounds. Official runs into him and gets a penalty, which stops the clock. So all those things we try and teach. So I believe that Mayut in no way made that decision selfishly. There's excitement. There's all these things going on. He didn't taunt the other team. He simply did something that you can't do on the field in terms of staying on the field and making it about everybody else. So we talk about what? Celebrating with your teammates. So how we teach that? Talk about it, show it, understand the situation, and I give credit to the kid. He knocked on my door. Our team meeting's at 3 o'clock. He knocked on the door at 2:25 and came to see me. Tears in his eyes and said, I apologize. I'm taking ownership for it. But ultimately, in no way, he's like, I never thought that I was doing that to detriment the team. Guys, we haven't experienced winning around here in a long time. So when you get into that situation where there's a moment of like just pure excitement, it's on me. It falls on me. I'll take ownership for it. I gotta coach up that situation, right? Which, again, looking back at it, thought we did. What he did is completely inexcusable, but teammates rally around him, we'll rally around him. And that ultimately, if you want to get into that, that's why that 4-made situation became so difficult. It's a 15-yard penalty. So we would have the ball in the -24, right? So maybe because, yes, they have no timeouts and we can pin them, maybe we do run it. I don't know. But in the situation we were in, that's why we decided to throw it. So one thing affects everything. So, you know, we just got to keep sticking together, right? And I know that kid will come back and hopefully be strong. Hopefully we get him back for this weekend, so he has an opportunity to go out there and get this taste out of his mouth. But, you know, I told the team yesterday, a storm has two purposes. It destroys everything that's not solid and it reveals what is. So what do you want to be? We got to keep standing. We got to keep going.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate you guys.